show. Welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I have a nice mail day, but unfortunately I have a pretty bad fail day as well. As one of my favorite comic book stores that I buy from online did not service me very well, and it was pretty disappointing to go through this process, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But first I want to show you sort of pretty short mail day for sports cards, as I haven't picked up a lot of sports cards since the beginning of the year. First up is a 93 Finest Jordan. Again, I feel like these cards just are fun to pick up. This was pretty cheap. And so this was just kind of like hanging around eBay, and I saw it sell pretty cheap and I went ahead and grabbed it. Next up is a card that I just picked up because, again, it's only an 8, but I'm from Indianapolis area, moved from there a couple years ago. And I have a lot of friends there, so when I go back, I like having a few cards to trade with, and this is a cool Red Ice Jonathan Taylor rookie, and it wasn't very expensive. It's an 8. Everyone hates 8, so, it's a cool card that I can maybe trade and at least maybe give away to some of my friends in Indianapolis. And then last up is a card I featured in a video, but I had removed it from its 4-screw 90s holder, and now it's in a glorious one-touch. And here is the 99 SP Signature Ken Griffey Jr. auto, and you can see that auto is glorious. The card is very nice. Oh man, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should get it graded. I paid, a good price. I don't want to say I stole it, but I definitely got it under what I thought I'd pay. And it's just beautiful. It's just one of the nicest Griffey cards ever made in terms of autos. I think it's top 5 all-time Ken Griffey Jr. autos from the 90s. And again, I don't give a crap about the whole, Dynasty patch autos or whatever, Those cards are just those cards. They're case hits for people opening those products, and they have to sell high, but they're not nostalgic. They don't have any meaning to me. This card was pack pulled when Griffey was the biggest, player in the sport. This was the card everyone loved and wanted to get in the 90s, and so to me, this card is always going to be cooler, always going to be more in demand, and a card that if you're a huge Griffey fan, you're going to want a card like this. And and it's going to beat those patch autos that they're going to continue making those patch autos for as long as Griffey is able to sign them. So I think this card is much cooler. So there you go. That's the short little mail day and little update. Now I'm going to start the video out on comic books. So if you don't like comics, you can peace out with a cool one. And for people who are paying attention to my videos. In my video about my goals for the 2022 year, this was the comic book I actually pictured for my Native American heritage collection, right? And I obviously did that for a reason, because I was actually buying this book at the same time I was making the video, and I wanted to cheat and be like, hey, look, I've already checked off a mark in my collection for the year. But it is a cool book, and it is a book that is so from its time. It's from 1944. Obviously, it's showcasing, some, a white guy, dressed up as a Native American dancing. It's very similar to the scene from Peter Pan. And if you don't know about the Disney Peter Pan, the original Native American scene in some cases have been cut out because it's kind of not PC anymore. And this is definitely a cover of a very similar type scene, and they would never do this again. And I think this is a good documentation of that time period. And, you know, and it's actually pretty good art. You know, that's another thing too, is like, you know, a lot of times Western books or Western theme books didn't have the best artists, in my opinion. You know, now you had some of the guys, in like Schomburg's done Western books, and you got folks out there who've done some, you know, who were obviously good artists doing some Western books, but in general, you didn't have, I think, the best artists all the time. And so when you get some of these books from the golden age with good art, it's cool to me. And this is a good one, and it's a good condition, 7.5 white pages from 1944. I mean, again, I think, you know, long term, you know, these kind of books are just rare. So, you know, it may never be a key, but it's definitely a cool cover for me and part of my collection goals. So we'll take that out of the way. And then I'll show some books here. You know, just as I was getting them, they're part of kind of like some other collections. So this is from Comics Elite, and this wasn't part of my issue with Comics Elite. This is the Venom #3 Gabriel Del Otto variant set. And this is kind of before I declared I'm kind of done with these multi-cover variants. You know, this is kind of like the last one I'm really buying like this, because what I don't like is the fact that this artwork makes this artwork or this book devalued to the point where people only care about this book. And so in a lot of cases, when you're buying these books, you can only buy them in sets, right? And so you're paying like 40 bucks for 2 books, but you really only want this book. And so, yeah, sometimes I'll break them up on eBay, but it takes a while. And, you know, 6 months later, you can probably get the book. But again, you know, I got FOMO and I want the books immediately. So I, you know, want this one. So I'll pay for 2 of them, thinking like, hey, I can sell them both. But then when you go to the card show, or sorry, the comic book show, you know, like, you know, no one wants this book because they're like, oh, well, you know, I want this one because it's the cooler looking book. And so it just kind of makes it where they're just not as unique and cool. And I just think staying away from that is kind of what I'm going to try to do, and just focus on books like this, which only have 1 cover that I know of. This is actually a book that I really need for my, that I actually got for my top 5 comic book covers of the week. And it is this week's number 5. So I pre-ordered this book and it came in same week I ordered it. And so this is the Armando Ramirez Department of Truth number 15 variant. And again, it's a horror-themed book. It's a horror-themed cover. I really like getting more into the horror side of it just because it's something I don't have too much of. And it's a good series. I can't wait to read the whole thing in trade, as that's usually how I read books. But I really like this cover, and I just thought it was cool to have a very well-drawn, this series has got some cool covers too, but they're a different style, and I thought this was like more classic horror. Next up is another book that's on my top 15, and again, this book was number 1 on my list from November 17th, 2021. So this was my this is the Wonder Woman Black and Gold number 6 Bermejo Virgin variant. And so this was the actual regular cover. And then they did a Virgin version of this. And you can see it's got like a certificate of authenticity. There's only 1,500 copies available. I like the sort of like how they've done the, it's not die cut, but it kind of looks die cut. So this is another one of my top 5 books of the week. And it was from November of last year. This is from last week's list. So this is number, let's see, it was number 4. It's the Kevin Maguire cardstock variant. And for people who don't really know who Ambush Bug is, the only thing I can really describe Ambush Bug is that he basically is DC's Deadpool. Meaning that he breaks the 3rd wall. He has tons of inside jokes. He, you know, makes fun of all the characters in the universe. He's kind of like the guy who calls out, you know, DC's own issues and continuity issues, and just kind of like, hey, everything about DC that's stupid, he'll poke fun at, right? Which is what Deadpool does. I mean, let's be honest, that's the same character. But the difference between this guy and Deadpool and other more famous, like, you know, let's say comic book characters that are kind of, you know, comic versions of a different character. So you got Gru, the Wanderer, who's a Conan ripoff. You've got, you know, Deadpool, who was kind of a ripoff of gosh, I can't think of the DC character now. Gosh, it's late. You know, you've got, you know, even Cerebus, who's actually a knockoff again of Conan, Conan the Barbarian. You know, you have all these kind of ripoffs, and then in the Marvel universe, you got Gwenpool, you got all these kind of mashup characters, right? What they did with Ambush Bug was they really didn't give him any powers, so he doesn't really fight. And so the stories you can tell with Ambush Bug are kind of like limited. He doesn't have like, he's not like Deadpool, and he doesn't go around killing everyone. So it's just a different type of take on that kind of character. And I think if they went back and did it again, they may have rethought how they did the character, just because if they overpowered him and made him like just, you know, like kind of like Deadpool can't die, you know, something like that, I think it would have been an interesting way of telling stories, because, you know, Ambush Bug disappeared for like a ton of time. In fact, you know, Keith Giffen and Maguire, you know, who were part of JLI, you know, a comedic character, you know, would use him, but really no one else would. And I think the fact that he wasn't really a superhero traditionally made the stories kind of not fit. Because with Deadpool, you can throw him on a team, you can put him in a situation where he actually has to, like, you know, do something, and he can do it. So anyway, it's just kind of cool that he's back in continuity, he's doing stuff, and this is actually a really nice cover. I mean, I talked about it in the video, was like, gosh, Kevin Maguire, like, really turned in a great Ambush Bug cover. Like, I'm sure no one said, like, hey, like, you know, let's do an Ambush Bug cover and make it just amazing. And this is like one of the best covers of him that's ever been done. And so kudos to Mr. Maguire for not just phoning this one in. So next up, we'll turn to my Comics Elite purchase. So here's the you know, package, and we'll open it here. And so the issue with this order was multiple, right? So it's not just one thing. You know, if it's one thing, you know, like they forgot a book, they didn't package it properly or whatever, you know, those things aren't as big. But this was like maybe not 4 or 5 issues, but, you know, a lot of issues all at one time. And it just really kind of bugged me, because I had to get it resolved. And I felt like if I didn't, you know, really push them, I wasn't going to get much of an answer. And so the story goes like this. So this order I placed, I'm pulling up the dates and everything just so I'm actually 100% accurate here. So this order was placed on October 8th of 2021. And I had inquired, and, you know, some of the books, you know, had said that they were, you know, not released yet. There was, you know, dates, you know, books that hadn't been, you know, published yet, you know, all this delay, right? So I waited a little bit, but then I started inquiring, and finally I got a response. You know, I finally sent an email basically to the customer service saying, hey, what's going on? This order's, you know, basically 3 months old, you know, getting close to 4 months old. And then they just said, you know, response back was, oh my God, we forgot this order. We're so sorry. We're going to ship it to you. So I'm like, okay, well, that sucks that you forgot an order, for one thing. And then, of course, when they shipped it to me, the first thing I thought was, a lot of the stuff in here was supposed to have been kind of like limited books. And I'm like, are you still going to have the same books, you know, 4 months later, right? And of course they didn't, right? And it's just, you know, it's just typical, right? You know, like they fulfilled the order. They weren't holding these books back. I mean, let's be honest, every book in this order was on their website for sale at some point. So you would think, as they're fulfilling orders, they're just like, okay, I got 8 of the 10 books, and so let's pull the 8, and then when we get the 2 shipped to us, we'll put the 2 in the order and we'll ship it, right? They didn't pull any books and held them. They just saw that they didn't have the order done when I emailed them, and just shipped whatever they had. So I got refunded for a lot of the books that I actually put an order in. And so I'll go through the books I didn't get, which, you know, in looking back on it, none of these books are huge books. And, you know, obviously, you know, it would have been different if there would have been some books that were bigger, but it's not really the point, you know, like, you know, the idea, like, you know, like, since I didn't miss out on a lot of money, like, you know, it's not as big a deal. In fact, some of them have never really sold on eBay because they were kind of cool variants. So the first one up that I didn't get was the Rorschach number 10 Ginny Frizzon variant, which isn't, you know, a huge book. But it's, to get it, you know, I bought it for $5, you know, from them. And to get one shipped to me from eBay, it'd be like $9. So, you know, because shipping, you know, because when you order through Comics Elite, you can get, you know, free shipping. So that's one of the big reasons why you would do that, right? Next up is, you know, and I'm going to flash up all these books as I'm, you know, read them off. That way you can kind of see which ones I'm missing here. Betty Page Retro Cosplay Trade variant. So this is a series that just came out, and it's a really cool, I kind of like, it's like a Planet Comics looking comic book cover of Betty Page. And the only one that sold on eBay was signed by the artist, and it sold for $43. And this is supposed to have been $20. The thing that's really crazy is they're still listed for sale on their website. So I don't know why, because I just added one to my cart. So like, it's the only book that's still listed on their website. So I don't know why they didn't send it to me. So I'm going to send an email back and asking, like, why can't they just send me the book? Why do they refund me the money when it's not, and it's the same price? So it's just a weird thing. But again, to get this off eBay, they're not for sale, for one thing. There's hardly any of them that are out there. But secondly, the only one that sold for like $43. So I don't know, it's weird. And the next one up is Amazing Spider-Man number 49, and this is the Bruce Timm cover. So this is a really cool cover, and it's a thicker book too. I didn't realize it was a kind of a thicker book. And again, I got them for $9.99 each, free shipping. And right now they're selling between $15 and $25 on eBay. So I went from paying basically $20 to probably paying about $40. So double to get them off eBay now. So that kind of sucks. That's the one that really hurts. That's the one I really wanted, right? So I ordered 2 of them because I wanted one to keep and one to sell, or get one graded. I really like that cover. It's a cool cover. So very disappointed about that one. Next one up is Big Dog Comics, Antoinette number 1, the knee variant. Just a cool looking variant. They haven't sold on eBay. There's one listed right now for, you know, like $28, $5 shipping or something like that. $33 if I wanted to order it off eBay. It was $15 through Comics Elite, $14.99. Again, so if I bought it off eBay right now, I'd have to pay like $30, so that sucks. And then the last one was just Exciting Comics One Shot. It's just a cool looking cover. It's not worth anything. I bought it for $1.50. It was in their like half off sale, and again, to get one off eBay, it's like $5 ship. So, you know, all in all, you know, I paid like $60 for the books that I got refunded. And then, you know, to buy them off eBay today would be about, you know, like $115, $100 to $115. So almost double. So that sucks, you know, if I want to get the same books, I'm going to have to go from paying like $60, $65 to paying like $100 to $120. You know, and I think that's why it just, you know, it's not just that they didn't have the books. It was like they did ship them for 4 months. One of the books is still listed on their website. Didn't ship that to me. And the one book I really wanted, they didn't have. So first up is the Patrick Gleason. This is like the web head. And this is the second printing variant of number 55. And so again, I've got some of these Webhead books already. I've got the blue one. I don't know. Like I don't have the first print of this. I just, when I see them and I can get them, I kind of like them. And again, this was $7, so it wasn't a huge book. So there you go. First up. Next up is, this is a Black Cat book, and so I'm just going through the list here. And this is Black Cat #1 Ryan Brown Virgin variant limited to 1,000. So there you go. That one was $25. So this is like actually one of the more expensive books in here, and does not have a COA. So just a Black Cat Virgin variant there. Very cool. Next up, I've got them upside down, so maybe I'll flip them around again. So here is a, this is the Virgin variant Ben Oliver numbered to 600, sorry. So I like the color usage on this book. You know, I just like, you know, I'm a big sucker for like either like, you know, negative space or like very bold colors like this. So cool book. And it does have the cool Unknown Comics certificate number 248 of 600. You can see right there. So there you go. So Harley Quinn Villain of the Year. So that last book was actually it was $30. So when I got it. This Harley Quinn book, and let's see here, this is on page 1 now. So this is a special book. This is Villains of the Year, and I don't know if they just sent it to me as kind of like, hey, here's an extra book, or I just made a mistake, but I don't know if it's a variant or not. Does Zerdy cover? It looks cool. I mean, I will take it. So I don't know if they did that just to try to make things up, but I don't know. It's not on my list, so that's an odd one. Next up is, this is actually on my list. I know this book is. This is the Dune foil variant of the House of Atreides #2. And you can see it's got the cool foily cover. I'm not huge on these foil covers. I mean, they are what they are. I'm not, again, you know, saying like I would never take them. And so this was like $6 or something, $7. So, and I like Dune a lot, so just grabbed it. So, next up, obviously, this book is a little more famous. This is the Rose Bash Virgin variant, Miles Morales, and this book is really cool. So this is obviously one of the books I was, you know, being a Spider-Man collector, this was like, yeah, if this got refunded and I had to go out and buy it, I would have been pretty upset. But it was in there, so I give him credit for that. This is, again, it's more expensive, right? That's kind of what happens sometimes too. Like, you know, the more expensive books sometimes don't sell as well because, you know, they don't put them on sale for like $5, you know, like some other books. So the Bash Miles Morales variant, and then this is a really cool. So this is Pirate Queen from Bad Idea Comics. #1, this was like $8, and then I had, so I think this is, you know, this is the A cover, and then I got the #2, I believe, from Bad Idea. Yeah, I got 1 and 2, so these are all first prints, cover A's, and so I thought that it's just a cool series. I like this set, so I'll probably collect the whole set, you know, just to, you know, have those books. You know, they're kind of a cool series, got some heat for a little while. Now this is DC versus Vampires. This is the Torini Virgin variant cover. And really cool Harley Quinn, Ivy. And so this is basically the Gotham City Sirens. But it's in a DC Vampires book. Not the COA. And then very last but not least, this is the DC versus Vampires Matina cover B. So this is cover B. That was cover C. So this is cover C. This is cover B. And it's a cool series. I kind of think it's very campy, which is kind of like it. This is a really cool Matina cover. So again, all these were part of, you know, the order. Obviously, you know, the Miles Morales book and the Psylocke book, which, you know, were the two that I was really most interested in. But then, you know, those Bruce Timm books were, you know, pretty huge too, so I didn't get those. Now, so since I got $68 basically after taxes and everything was refunded to me, I went ahead and got a different book with the money, and I said, well, screw it, you know, I might as well get what I wanted. And I got it in a form that I think is cool, which is, this is that Bruce Timm cover from Amazing Spider-Man 49. So I just went ahead and ponied up some extra dollars and got a CGC 9.8. You know, again, I think when I look at Spider-Man books, you know, I like the, you know, the Miles Morales hip-hop variant, the recent, you know, Spider-Man Miles as a DJ, the Raza cover, you know, those things are going to be popular today, tomorrow, in the future, because they're kind of iconic. They're new takes on the character or just different types of art. And again, this looks like, you know, obviously, you know, from like the Batman and, you know, Adventures type art, done with Spider-Man, done with an awesome Mary Jane, just really great artwork. And you don't, and it's not done to death. And that's the great thing about it. And that's why I think those other covers are not something done to death. You know, like the web heads from Gleason have been done to death to a certain extent. And they do that with really cool ideas. But, you know, this Timm cover, the DJ Miles Morales, the hip hop, I know they've done some more hip hops, but that original first one for Miles are all going to be unique. And those books are going to be sought after by Amazing Spider-Man collectors, right? Those guys are hardcore. I'm hardcore. I go after these books too. So again, so I took the money from the refund. I kind of took, you know, lemons, try to make some lemonade out of it. But at the end of the day, you know, I just felt like the biggest issue was just the non-communication. You know, 4 months I had to call or I had to write, and then got a response and got books sent to me. But, you know, they weren't pulling my order when I put it. They were waiting for whenever, I guess. I don't know. And when they were going to actually ship me that order if I didn't start, you know, harassing them a little bit. So there you go. Kind of a mix, you know, mail day, a lot of books. But, you know, hopefully my next order from Comics Elite, when that does occur, won't have these kind of issues. Again, you know, disappointed, but I understand people make mistakes. So, you know, I'm not going to say I'm never going to do business with them again. It wasn't that big of an issue, you know, to do that. But I just want to say, look, you know, I think it's more common in mail order all the time. I'm sure there's going to be people out there saying like they got screwed a lot worse by tons of other people. But it's my first real issue with them. And so hopefully, you know, it won't be, you know, it'll be the last, or they'll at least try to, you know, be more proactive in the future. So hope you guys like the mail day, and I'll talk to you later. And I got some more things coming, some pretty cool cards coming up, some more vintage. So I'll be sharing that pretty soon. See you next time. Bye.